Hello everyone, it's Friday night and it is Weekender time once more, and I've assembled my party ready to go dungeoneering through the week's worth of hobby news to find out what's going on in the tabletop industry. And you can do something similar courtesy of this week's prize. From Free League Publishing, we have a core set of Dragonbane, along with the GM screen and dice, everything you need to get started role-playing in a world of fantasy fun and games. So if you want a chance to win that, you need to be a subscriber to the channel and pop a comment below the video here on YouTube. Now, sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello everyone and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined by Justin, John and Ben. Hello guys. How are you?
Still here?
Good. Yeah.
Wow. Unlike the rest of the country, we're still working.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, John did 5 miles an hour to get into work today.
It's a beautiful, beautiful world. We're graders. Just go, yeah, no. If you're not going to pay us, we're not going to dump our load in the road. Fair enough.
Sounds like a great event to come up in a board game about gritting roads, which I think now would be a really cool
we're back
idea.
to Cargo Masters of then.
There we go. Yeah.
We did we did go to a shop as well before we started filming, and we passed the full Coleraine gritting crew. It was 3 guys in high-vis with a shovel.
Yep. Nice.
I shit you not. It was just like they walked past and she's like, should we do the bridge now? All right, let's do the bridge now. We'll get a cup of tea and then we'll do the bridge. I was like,
Scabs out on a strike. Oh man, you should go back and throw things at them.
I bet they're the new guys. They're the ones that haven't joined the union yet.
Rookie mistake right there.
Yep,
anyway, enough of our generalizing striking action. We have another packed show for you, filled with delightful things on square bases. Some round-based stuff as well, but you can't have everything in life.
Yeah.
But we're going to kick things off by taking a look at another Dungeonlia project.
Yeah.
This one comes from Thursday's child, who is full of grace.
and
also
loves the
Wabbit.
Norse god of thunder. But yes. So this comes from Thursday. This one's pretty fun because it's a little bit of mix of different things. It's a little bit of kind of dungeon design and adventure design, whilst also being a little bit of dungeon crafting at the same time. The title sort of gives it away if you're a little bit of a wargaming fan anyway. But this is sort of delving into 10mm, very small scale adventuring on the tabletop. So inspired by the past and sort of playing through games like Hero Quest and stuff like that, and the Dragonlance novels, as you can see there. Thursday has dived into putting together a really interesting style of dungeon delving adventure, where in actual fact all the dungeon rooms and the layout is designed by a deck of cards. So out came the pen and sort of a little bit of doodling, as you can see there, doing some test pieces which look lovely, I have to say. They're gorgeous. This is the kind of thing that I want to be doing. I need to dive in and actually start getting the graph paper out and doing this kind of thing.
Well, you see, what they need to do is put some magnetic backing on there, and that way it can be proper travel dungeon.
Oh, that would be cool. So it wouldn't shift around. That would be a nice idea. Yeah. Do it on the hood of a car when you're at a festival. But yeah, so the doodling of the dungeon rooms has come out, and then these are turned into cards, as you can see there, or tiles in this case. And then these are randomly assorted and drawn as you go through the dungeon, and that reveals certain enemies and things as you go through. I believe that the daughter has been roped in to do a little bit of games testing, which I thought was quite cool. So there's a little bit of a youngling in there at the same time as well, which is quite nice.
Free labor.
Hitting all the targets with this project, which is very nice. So yes, playtesting involved potentially a cat as well, which is always going to be fun. That's definitely a wandering monster in your dungeon. And there's some notes from the youngling as well, which was quite nice. Yeah. And then that's sort of rolled through into the development of the rules a little bit more, and sort of tweaking things and changing things in different ways as well, which was quite nice. But I think this is a great idea. Fun to sort of like have a nice compact dungeoneering adventure where you get to play around with really old school techniques for designing dungeons, that kind of sketched pen style design, but could move faster. At least it's able to move. That's the worst.
I love the idea of a pocket dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea.
I thought there was going to be more to that sentence.
Yeah. no, I just said I liked it. That's all that's needed.
Yeah,
it's like anything on the internet. If I like something, I'll say I like it. I will move on.
There we go. Yeah. But I think this looks really awesome, and I'd love to see where it goes in the future. Hopefully, we'll see some painting up of the different heroes and the monsters and everything else as well. And we'll see where it develops.
Using the little 15 mils is a nice touch. Keep everything sort of compact and bijou.
You should really get those, like when the project's done, you should get them scanned and put onto like playing card style material and just have it in a deck box with a little rule book. That'll be nice.
Yeah. This is one I could see turning into an actual product.
If you want
like an actual sellable game,
market that.
Yeah. Oh, yes, very true. If you want it to be extra bougie, put it on poker. No, what are they? Tarot
style. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's the tarot of the extra length on them.
Yeah.
It's funny seeing the old procedurally generated dungeon with the cards, and all of a sudden I'm reminded of the game Zombie, where you were survivors escaping a town, and you started in the center and then had to run down the streets avoiding the zombies until you find the helipad. I'm thinking that is another dungeon crawler right there. So many ways. You don't always have to go fantasy.
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make your game move faster and add more big monsters, like the cat. That makes a lot of sense.
As she gazes on.
The cat is considering how many bits can I steal before Dad catches me.
Yeah, I did also like that the mechanics seem fairly sort of quick and easy to dive into. There's like a basic sort of overview of it as part of the project at the moment, which I think is quite nice. Fun to see where it goes. Obviously, the classic orcs and trolls have been thrown into the mix, which is a good starting point. And we'll see where it goes, I suppose. But a good start for this one. I've been chugging along for a couple of weeks. Still got plenty of time left to get involved. So maybe this will inspire you to do something similar. So,
I'll throw this one in. Here's my little designer note for you Thursday. As far as the could move faster, I'm assuming that's because you're going with random move for the heroes, which means at some point an elf's going to move one for 3 or 4 turns in a row and be dragging everybody else down. Get yourself some average dice.
Yes.
And you've got a minimum of 2. Most of the time, you're going to be rolling a 3 or 4. Very rarely you'll hit a 5, but for movement, it will just push you through that dungeon faster without ramping you right through it or having to do any stupid maths.
Well, maybe just a D6 plus.
So give them a base move stat plus the D6.
Oh, I can't be arsed with thinking about things. Not when I'm playing a game.
Fair enough.
Playing a game, I'm just too drunk to do that. just get yourself a little thing.
And now you know the secrets behind all of our Let's Plays. Jerry is
100%.
Jerry has lunch. It just happens to be liquid bread.
So yes. Anyway, that's some terrific stuff from Thursday. If people fancy getting involved in the Dungeonlia with the other Dungeonlia type peoples, we have a page which you can go to and look that all up.
Yeah, so we've got a breakdown of how to get involved with the project system and how to use it. There's also a separate link that you'll find on social media as well, which will sort of be a dedicated how to create your project for Dungeonlia page. So if you're interested, you can just find it all there. But this page is basically a sort of landing sort of zone where you can go and find everything you need to start getting involved. It's got all the details of the prizes, of which there are a lot. We've talked about this over the last couple of weekends. There's loads of different categories to get involved with. There's some big prizes from loads of different companies that have got involved to help us out with this one, which is very, very nice of them. And there's even stuff for runners up and everything in between as well. So yeah, just make sure you've got yourself a OnTableTop account. Head over to the project system, start building it up, and then you've got to use the drop-down menu at the bottom to join the contest. And then there'll be a little thing there as well to go and view other people's work, as well as a banner on the homepage where you can go and see everyone's projects sort of updating in real time, which is always nice. So yeah, get involved, have some fun, build projects. You can do loads of different things. You're not limited by genre or anything like that. So just have some fun and build some Dungeony-based goodness.
Most important button for Ben.
Oh,
that puts a lovely little picture on your project that then we can all go, ooh, They're on round bases. I'm not clicking on that.
Yeah. I might end up going through and picking a picture from everybody's project who hasn't put one in.
Hasn't put a thumbnail in and just adding it. So,
yes, I will invade your project, damn you.
Makes a change from me doing it, to be fair. Wandering around kicking the tires of people's projects like a wandering monster of my own. So
your project has been annexed for the glorious republic of Ben and Jerry.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. And I don't see any problem with that at all. It makes sense to me. Why would it not make sense to everybody at home?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Enough dungeoneering. Time to have a look at the indie of the week.
Ooh.
And this week, we've gone all Masonic.
What?
Ooh.
Huh? Wiggly.
So hedgehog.
All sorts of different things. Yeah.
Well, technically he's a Mason. It's Tom Mason.
So see what you did then.
I'm very clever. Tom has been a sculptor in the industry for 20 odd years now.
Yeah.
He has worked with Reaper. He co-founded Megacon, did Mercs. He's done stuff for Cephalofair. He's done a ton of things. And he's got his own little home here, which you can find at thethomason.com. There's no punctuation or capitalization. That's how that's pronounced. He may be Tom Mason. The website is the Thomason. Shut up.
It sounds like something an evil villain would create as their doomsday weapon.
Told you.
I present to you the Thomason.
Like I said, Masonic. There's obviously the Tiny Fighting Men's in here, which we'll have a look at in a minute. I will very briefly click this little button up here. Clicky. Oh.
Internet says no.
It just says yes, it's fine. See? Yes, it's fine. So he has his own YouTube channel where he essentially does sculpting tutorials. There's also interviews and stuff with other games designers and sculptors and bits and pieces. But if you're looking to do a bit of sculpting or converting, or maybe you're just looking to do, up your game in some respects, there's some fantastic stuff in here that Tom's been doing for years. So you can go and have a wee nosy of how he works and how it all comes together. However, enough of him. Let's have a look at his work. So you can see scrolling past there a whole host of random fantasy type things. Havoc Protocol, I believe, is just brand spanking new and up for pre-order until the end of this month, I think. So these are his sci-fi stuff.
Oh, I like those.
Which I like. I'm assuming there will be a reason and some sort of lore behind them, who these people are. Yeah. The fact these are called the Founders makes me want to go back and watch Altered Carbon again. Because I just imagine...
The first series, not the second one. But
yeah. Yeah, but I imagine, these people are living on top of some sort of sky mansion, looking down at all the poor peoples.
With a stance like that, yes.
Yeah, leaders of a dystopian world just looking down on the peasants.
Yeah, going, my God, look, their lives are so short.
They're like ants from this high.
There we go. Yeah.
I remember whipping their grandfather. It seems like only minutes ago.
Yeah.
But that's a really nice pair of figures for whatever he has planned. And I'm curious as to see what the long-term ramifications of the Havoc and the Founders are.
Yeah.
But even for doing some cyberpunky style games, the likes of Codeblade, it's just come out. Always looking for figures for that. It's good. Could be dropped in there. Could be used for Infinity as objectives / hostages.
Very true.
You just don't know where you're
going. A crooked, dicey 7TV goodness as well, perhaps. Nice. Oh, I like that armor. That's cool.
Yeah. It's that very manga / anime-esque,
It has a nice minimalist style to it.
Yeah.
Could all be in Mega Man Blue, I reckon.
Yes.
Especially with
the helmets.
Yes.
Then put a bow on top of one of their heads. Go to a sculpting YouTube channel, learn how to make a bow out of money put on top of their heads, paint it pink, and then you've got Miss Mega Man.
The man might actually have a tutorial for that.
Yeah.
Or he might do one for his channel now.
True, yeah.
Look at that. stop moving forward. We're about to be killed up
He's
by
already
one of the
together on
founders.
the Techno train. Choo-choo.
Choo-choo.
Yeah.
All aboard.
No, see, they haven't been paid their wages. They've just found the founders, and he's just like, hold up, there he is. Get ready to shoot.
No point in shooting them. They'll just regrow the body. They'll all come back. We know this.
No.
We all
The law's
know
developing
this.
before our eyes. There we go. Very cool. I like those sort of nice, sort of general sci-fi troopers. Good stuff.
Yeah. Good sci-fi. Always good to have. And then we have the
Very cute.
specialists,
Mm.
which is how I imagine the Powerpuff Girls end up.
Yeah.
This is
Although
just how it goes.
These clearly look like some form of mech pilot.
Yeah, I was going to say like a speed racer or a mech pilot or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
Could
for
have
that.
come off the grid in Tron.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Get some more neon in there. Mm.
He
Get some
fights
neon and write some Red Bull sponsorships on them. And
Yeah.
Red Bull sponsors everything these days, so it's fine.
Yeah.
What was the other thing that the kids used to watch? Not Powerpuff Girls. Spy Kids? Action Spies? Triple Spies?
My kids.
Oh, Totally Spies.
Totally Spies? Is that it?
What?
It was,
I think that's it.
it was a
Yeah.
cartoon with 3.
Yeah, it was on Fox Kids whenever I was a kid.
Yep, see? I told you.
Oh,
That's what
wow.
the kids watch.
Okay.
But they were color-coded in something similar.
Yeah.
You watched Fox Kids? Ugh.
He was just waiting for Fox News to start and just had it first. He's waiting for Bill
So
O'Reilly
hang
to
on,
tell
so
him
hang
all
on.
about it.
That's the primer.
I imagine so.
Indoctrination.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Cartoons. Tucker Carlson. There we go.
I mean, look how you turned out. So
So that's
Wait, I resemble that remark.
that's Havoc Protocol then. So
Mm.
pre-order for those guys.
Very nice.
But we'll go back and have a look at the little fantasy stuff because they're so much fun, which lives here under the effigy. Look, proper basis, if you must. But yeah, we have essentially 3 factions. There's a goblin, there's a frog, and there's a gnome, of which there are many, and they're absolutely corking figures.
They are lovely. Yeah.
Because, I mean, why would you not want some sort of medieval style frog army coming at you? I mean, obviously, put them on the right side.
Toads running at you with bearded axes.
Yeah. I like to think that a entire kingdom was cursed by a witch rather than just a prince.
there's not enough kisses in the land to heal you.
Now, you see, this is why they're going to war. They need to capture enough people so the entire population can kiss them at the exact same time to turn back normal. So they must conquer the world.
True. Yeah. That is a good. I like that.
That's pretty dark, though.
Add pole then.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's a pun.
Brilliant.
It's a pun on 2 levels, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's great.
very good. Oh, I love that.
Croakers
Yeah.
for your larger heavy infantry, but then it's some sort of terrible paladins.
Yeah.
The thing that's really nice about these as well is because they've got that cartoony, larger than life, heroic feel to them. I reckon these would be really good to paint because you've not got to worry too much about lots of very intricate details here and there. It's just big, blocky, bold colors. And then sort of like doing some really nice highlights on those would really make them pop, I think. Or hop.
I mean, I would kind of want to do some like wet effects on the skin of these to make them shiny.
That would be cool as well. Yeah.
I can't believe you did that. Why would you? You're just the worst. Anyway, I feel like we should have a look at the gnomes.
Gnomes.
I'm a gnome.
The gnomes are absolutely sweet. Sweet to the beat.
They're lovely.
We'll start with David and Lisa.
I think the goblins was the first stuff I saw from him, and then these popped up
Right.
fairly shortly after, didn't they? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to the goblins because they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Lovely. This is, again, speaking of cartoons about the kids, like David the Gnome. We all watch that.
Nope. I missed that
I'm
one.
afraid that one passes me by. But
Oh my God.
Jerry, I'm not young enough to know that now.
You kids with your music, television, your drugs.
Oh, I love that.
The birds in the beard. That's
the
lovely.
little effigy, a little could be a scarecrow, could be an actual gnome with just some sort of riotous beard. The choice is yours.
Oh no, you just see him just squidging along.
Oh, every time he lands, the beard just expands. He's just blob, blob, blob.
You need to paint each of the birds in different Angry Birds colours.
With his tiny windmill.
I don't think he's part of an artillery crew that's trying to.
Oh, he's gauging the wind.
Yeah.
Oh no! Clearly, he's the air corps. He holds that up and just drifts off.
Yeah. Oh.
There's your artillery crew
with the lawn darts.
The lawn darts.
That's very cool.
I mean,
They're so adorable.
Yeah. It looks adorable. It looks hilarious. The Romans used a weapon exactly like that. They called it Plumbata, which was, painful when hit by.
Then got turned into a toy and then got made illegal.
Only because it kept sticking in people's heads.
Well,
I mean,
people's aim was off. That's all.
Yeah,
gotta love a gnomish phalanx.
See, before Alex Huntley was doing them for Warp, Tom Mason was sculpting them. Yeah.
All done, dusted, shovels and spades, and away you go.
Yeah, those are great. Love those,
aren't they?
I wonder if he'll do like an archery set with like a plant pot pavis.
That would be neat. Yeah, I love those. They're so grumpy as well. It's wonderful.
Well, you can't tell if they're grumpy. They don't have eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
So they've no expression. They're just.
I just seem to assume grumpiness.
Yeah.
Is it the beard? Because just because I have a beard and I'm mainly grumpy doesn't mean that all people. That's correlation, isn't it? Causation. I'm just saying. The little gnome greenkeeper.
Oh,
on his little pig.
On pig.
Yeah.
Eating something.
Giving the ultimate battle speech to his forces.
Yeah. He's even got an armored tip to his hat, which I think is quite cute.
Yes. Oh, he's ready for war. With his battle hoe, and away he goes. I mean,
call him Ivan. There we go. Yeah.
The real question would be, where would you drop these in? Is it in a little bespoke type game, or would you? Because you've got things like Frostgrave and the like, where it never says what things are except the creatures attacking you.
Yeah,
and I think just replacing everything with things like this would be just hilarious.
See, I would almost play this as like a shrunken world game where they're all living in a garden.
That would be nice.
And fighting against each other.
Get some statuesque stuff from the bottom of the garden.
Yeah.
Jesus, wandering monsters. Look, there's a little tiny goblin that looks like Baby Yoda from the Baby Yoda show.
Yeah.
And
there's tiny little frogling on its base.
And there's one gnawing on Pedro Pascal's thigh bone after they found him for abducting their child. That'll teach you, Pedro. Not so clever now. Little bratties with spears. These are just so ridiculously adorable.
Mm-hmm.
See, these I would paint in like the brightest, poppiest colors I could.
Yeah. I'd be tempted to even move away from like the standard green and do them in like a bright blue or something like that. I think that could be quite nice.
See, I would do them with a green, but I would put like random war paint splats on them.
I was thinking like a red skin with white war paint on.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Make them look a bit more demonic-ish.
Yeah. Sort of, you could cross the line between goblin and imp.
Yeah.
Well, the necromancer goofed, and instead of summoning demons, he summoned demon daycare.
What's that thing, Stitch, from that film, Lilo Stitch? Because I've not watched it, but it looks like a little demon.
An alien. Yeah.
It's a medical. Well, it's an experiment of some sort to create a doomsday weapon.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
They're a bit late to the party, I think, John.
but that sort of mauve.
Yeah, that sort of like dark blue, grey.
Is he not? I thought he was purple.
He's
like
turquoise.
A mouse. Is he? Oh wow.
Turquoisey blue? Don't know.
Yep. I've only ever seen memes, so
is this going to be like a Mandela moment where we're not sure exactly what
turns out there's not even a film called Lilo and Stitch.
And his leg was...
I mean, I know they did a cartoon series afterwards where there were like multiple coloured ones of him that were like his family.
There you go then.
Right. So that could be where my memes are coming from. This one's fat.
He is.
Why are you fat?
He's chewed on too many of Pedro Pascal's bones.
Oh.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You need to run your ass up a hill a few
He
times.
found the picnic basket and went in there overnight and was just like, nom, 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 nom.
He was the one that stripped the bones
Yeah.
and handed
I was
them out
gonna
to
say-
everyone else.
Because they are brats. Maybe it's puppy fat. In this case, he got it from
Could
eating
be.
a fat puppy.
Yeah.
But this one,
Oh,
I think this is the
Oh.
first one I've seen.
I think so. Yeah.
And it was like, it's the majestic look of a Goblin King
Mhm.
with the cloak billowing behind him. He's just
Yeah.
needs to be on a mountain of his defeated opponents, like some
Mhm.
sort of Conan the Conqueror.
So standing on top of a squirrel skull.
No,
Yeah.
squirrels will have him. Maybe a Goblin body, but you get
I quite like the
absolutely
idea.
shafted by a squirrel.
I know that we talk about it obviously quite a lot, but I quite like the idea of you because the mechanics are so easy to get into of Saga and stuff. Doing
Yes.
battle boards for each of these,
Mm.
and then just having some like weird
Oh.
zany things that you could do. With
Well,
them.
there is Age of Magic where you
There
could
is
just
Age
go
of
in and go.
Magic, yeah.
I'll use these as I'll use the gnomes as the under
That would be a good idea.
dwellers.
Yeah.
Use the
Mhm.
goblins as the horde. Or
Can I point out that the box set is called Goblin Headache?
oh
I-
yes,
I love that it's called Headache.
Yeah.
it's the collective noun for a bunch of goblin brats. Yeah,
Yeah.
the headache of goblins.
I like the fact that we're seeing some individuals now as well, because I would use these as like mercenaries to bring into your forces.
Oh, that's cool.
Some sort of samurai owl thing going on there
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronin Owl.
with a touch of the Farscape about it.
Oh
first guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know Farscape, so you know.
It's like
it
Lulu
was-
and Stitch.
It was magically demented.
There was a mauve alien. It's good. Good times.
Okay.
Died
That
a
pilot,
unicorn.
was that Pilot? That was Pilot, wasn't it? Yeah.
Pilot was the multi-tentacled alien.
Yeah.
The one like that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
The
warrior.
little one that was always on the hover thing.
Floating around on the chair.
No. There was the big.
Oh, yeah.
the big alien. I can't remember.
Oh.
He was constantly punching the American in the face.
Yes.
He probably had a name. They probably all had names.
It's a good show. I've forgotten it, but it's a good show.
Must go back and watch it.
It doesn't get rewatched, unlike Babylon 5, which I will do until eternity ends. But look, Sir Frogsworth, the Paladin Knight.
He's very cool.
You're not froggy enough for the kingdom. You must leave.
I like all of those. There's also a badger bear.
yeah, Conan
I had to-
and all that stuff.
I had to be careful not to scroll down too far because I didn't want you to get excited by the tiny badger bear.
I just want a swarm of those.
Yes.
Coming at you at ankle height.
Yes.
They'll cause a load of damage to your chariot if you run into one, though, I'll tell you that.
They're just,
that front
about
grill's
the
gonna get
right
done in.
size to punt off a bridge. There you go. That's Anchorman style.
I'm glad you said that.
Oh, that's such a
Rodan.
beautiful cartoony barbarian.
Again, this was one of the more like this was one of the earlier sculpts I've
Mm.
seen from him. This was just after, I think the MegaCon stuff. I think
Yeah.
was when we stepped into doing these kind of characters because I reckon there was a Kickstarter or something for this chap and a couple of the other characters, like the young characters. I think wasn't it? Yeah. So Very nice.
This would make a perfect D&D
Yes.
character. Oh, and the apprentice.
yes. Forget
And-
that Bretonian that everyone saw this week and hated. This is the pairing you need.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just great.
yeah,
to be fair, Cronin himself even looks like he's still struggling to lift that sword.
that's true.
Yeah, well,
I know he's kind of like at the apex of beginning a swing, but
Yeah, that.
he looks like he's more at the gym going, just 5 more.
Imagine he's standing about 20 yards behind him, just practicing the grims.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You see, you paint the other one's sword as wood.
And then little
Yeah.
tiny sword girl / katana wielding paladin type thing.
Very, very Saturday morning cartoon.
Hear me out, Ben. Samurai Astrid, How to Train Your Dragons.
Oh, that would
Yeah.
work. Yeah, I like
That's
that.
that's basically it.
Do
Yeah.
it like a Western Saturday morning cartoon isekai style thing.
Yeah. Very
Oh,
nice.
I'm so lost now. I was fine with David the Gnome.
And then
Just
from that
out-
point on,
Confused by humans.
everything
still
is
can't.
wah 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 wah.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me. You can get them as a little group as well.
What is I'm a product?
Ooh, these would be really cool fitted in alongside the Lucid Eye stuff.
Mhm.
Do you remember they did their kind of like kiddie dungeon delving range and stuff? I think that would be really cool.
This is literally just a
It's a square space page
Yeah.
type thing
Yeah.
that you then shows you how to do what your stuff is.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
Uh,
Well, you asked, I was going to click on it. So anyway,
No, thank you for that. I was confused. I'm now more confused, but thank you.
better again.
yeah,
Better
a
again.
wonderful little range. This one.
Yeah. If you do decide to go down the sculpting route as well and follow along with some of his little tutorials, there's a set he's put together of the
Cool.
usual sort of sculpting tools, clay carvers, scrapers, rubber tip things as well. So,
He's
I did
rated
have.
as local dentist.
well, what else are they good for? The old dentists.
Well, the important thing is getting one of those rubber tools in there because most of the sculpting kits you get are just the metal tools,
Yes,
which is a pain in the ass.
I have a whole host of them.
I do
Of
like
course
that
you
it
do.
comes with
And I
the,
do nothing with them. Sometimes I
do
push
like that
putty
it
in the
comes with
caps.
the containment box.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't want them escaping in the middle of the night. Especially
Yeah,
not
all
with all
sort of
the,
mischief. Yeah,
especially
sure.
not with those goblins around. That could go very bad for somebody. Very bad.
Ah,
Anyway,
suddenly
so
there's one
yes.
about small soldiers up in here.
Yeah, well, it would do. It would do. So there we go. That is
Very nice.
Tom Mason's range, which you can find on thethomason.com. It's cracking. You should give it a
Link
look.
down below.
Yeah. Right. We shall have a look at some news now. Swish me.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
All right. Big gulpy bucket of news coming your way.
Oh,
Starting things off with Conquest's Sorcerer Kings. Picked by the people.
It was
For the people.
democracy.
Democracy in action. So when I didn't get my Dogs of War, it was because of these people.
Well, I mean, at least you didn't turn up at Conquest HQ going, "Oi, I want mine."
Exactly.
Well, it's only because they're too far away and it's a very hot country. I wouldn't survive the trek.
Good things come to those who wait. That's
That
the
is
thing.
true.
But yeah, the Sorcerer Kings, the newest faction for Conquest, is going to be landing very, very soon. Pre-orders are available for a whole bunch of lovely awesomeness in 35mm fantasy goodness. So yes, you can start things off with the sort of limited edition preview version of a sorcerer, which makes sense for the Sorcerer Kings. This model will be available during this kind of period of pre-orders. I think they're going to be coming out properly sort of February time, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
the whole army and stuff, so it'll be very nice. But yes, if you want to get yourself a special miniature, you've got this lady that you can snap up and add into your army, looking very
Dual
cool
wielding
indeed.
dagger wands.
She'll stab you and cast spells, probably inside your body. Explosions. There we go. That's how it works, definitely. It was
I'm 100% there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like getting one of those special forces knives that has the CO2 cylinder in the hip. So when you stab somebody, you can explode their organs. Same principle here.
Exactly.
That's horrifying.
They just
No.
didn't realize that they made it. As well as that, there's a couple of additional characters that they've been working on as well. So there's the Sardar, as you can see there, with that amazing looking sword. I love the kind of Indian style aesthetic to things that they've gone with here. It's really awesome seeing that. And it's one of the things that I think Para Bellum does really well, is that they take ideas and concepts that maybe haven't been explored properly in the fantasy genre and play around with it in interesting ways. And I think they've really done that here, kind of nailing that on, especially with the design of some of the arms and armor and stuff that you see here. And I'm sure that'll carry through into the army itself as well. So you got the Sardar there, there's the Maharaja, as you can see.
Giant flaming turban.
Flames, of course, yes. This kind of folds nicely, especially with the next character as well, into the kind of different ways that the Sorcerer Kings work. So there's kind of mortals and elementals within their force, and each of those different characters, so the Maharaja and stuff like that, will be able to play around with the different forces and give them different buffs and that kind of thing. And then you've got the Raj there that kind of is a nice melding of the two. So this is kind of like showing off that he can look after both elemental and mortal troops on the tabletop and give them good buffs and things like that. So not just good for Last Argument of Kings either. Obviously very good for leading the way in sort of the skirmish game as well. So if you dive into First Blood, some nice options there, which is very cool. Yeah. These are also amazing. So this is some of the kind of elemental infantry that they've been working on. These are the goals. So these are your sort of flaming spirits from an elemental plane that have been summoned forth to do battle. As you might imagine, going to be lobbing some flame at someone, setting them on fire. I love the kind of negative space they've got in some of the models as well. I think it's really nice. I think you're going to see some very interesting painting on these, playing around with kind of like sort of coal black style skin potentially, and then all the flames bursting through them as well. I think it could be really nice. So.
I think what would be kind of cool is taking the idea of the terracotta army and just adding the flames to it, so it's like living statue.
That would be cool. That's what I was thinking myself, John. Because if you think of them as something like terracotta army or golem, the men of clay, so.
See, I would nearly go the opposite way. Paint them as like just people, and the element is taking over them,
just burst
so they are burning from the inside out.
That would be nice. Kind of giving that kind of Old Dominion vibe as well,
like in the Jewel of the Nile.
Yeah. Cool. There's also so that's your kind of elemental side for the thing. There's also the Rajakur, which are your sort of mortal infantry, clad again in that amazing armor. That just
looks gorgeous.
It looks really
nice.
Yeah. I love all the embossing work they've done on the shields and the banner.
And
that's going to come up a treat.
While it looks like it could potentially be quite daunting, just dry brush it, man. Just dry brush the details. It'll all pop. Oh, lovely.
Just all inlaid shields. Every one inlaid, various enamels.
Speed paints and contrast are going to be your best friend.
Yeah. And then that banner as well, really nice too. And it's kind of setting the scene for a really amazing army. It was quite fun. I think it was reading through the Raj entry. They were talking about some of the other units that are available. I think we're going to have things like war elephants and stuff, which is going to be amazing in 35 mil. I'm obviously.
Is it on fire?
Maybe. Maybe it comes out the trunk.
Or have a lump on fire.
The Old Dominion will obviously get greased up, flaming undead pigs to send at the war elephants.
Yeah.
Fire-breathing pachyderms.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, amazing little setup there. And then to kind of blend in with that kind of, as I say, sort of like that kind of Persian influence, a little bit of Indian influence as well. You've got the Ifrits there too, which I think is really nice. So you've got two different flavors of them. So this is a dual kit that either does the sword dancers or you can have the flame casters. So you've either got kind of relatively sort of close ranged options for you to use in your games, or you've got basically mincing machines with those sword dancers. So stick them in front of a unit and just watch them get turned into slithers of flesh. Yeah, very cool.
Indeed. I love this.
Raja. There we go.
I like it because it does something that they've done with things like the Wadrun, where it's not we're going to do African or we're going to do South American. They've gone various tribal cultures and blended them into something sort of unique for the Wadrun. And here it's various Oriental sort of influences. So you've got your Persian, Indian. We seen one the other day which was almost Chinese. One of the Sorcerer Kings from the it must be what's the resin range they do?
The Artisan?
The Artisan series, which was much more Chinese in style.
Right.
And they've taken all of these Oriental influences and just went all of it. Because when you read the lore behind the Sorcerer Kings, when Haslia and the Old Dominion were kicking off, they went, no. And so everybody from that area, off the back of this sort of council of mages, went, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create a new land where none of this is going on. We'll go south. They went to the coast, and then the sorcerers raised up essentially a new continent, and they all booted across onto it. Right, we live here now, and that undead madness that can itself.
Hell's with this. Keep your drama. We're out.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, the speed at which that's come. Obviously, they've been developing the Sorcerer Kings, Dogs of War, and the Weavers and stuff for a little while, and then it was just a case of which one was going to come out of the traps first, based off the voting from the community. I do like how that's turned out. It just makes me wistful for what could have been with the Dogs of War.
Well, I mean,
someday Someday.
Yeah, someday. I believe that one of the miniatures that you can get from the organized play kits is a Dogs of War character, isn't it? Because they've done each of the different factions. Have got one there, so maybe if you're lucky, you get your hands on one of those. That'd be kind of nice. And that would be a
Or
nice
just grab
start.
all the organized play kits they've made, Jerry, and just take that single miniature, and just your army is just that one miniature over and over again.
That'd be the way to go. But yeah. As well as the Sorcerer Kings landing, 2024 is also kicking off big styly for those people who want to get stuck into Conquest with the 5th anniversary and a whole bunch of one-player army boxes. So these are kind of like a little bit of a tweak on the boxes that they've done previously for all the different factions. There is one for all of the existing factions in the game, apart from the Sorcerer Kings, obviously, because they're coming out later in the year. But you'll be able to get your hands on a whole host of different stuff for the Dweghom, the Wadroon, the 100 Kingdoms, the Spires, anything you want to dive into. And these have been sort of tweaked to include a whole bunch more of the sort of more modern models that they've done for the range. So these might even actually be a good pickup for someone who's maybe started a Spires army and then maybe wants to just add on a big bulk of stuff to build onto things like that. But even if you're just getting started, these are pretty good, and they'll give you a nice specialized force on the tabletop. Also really good for First Blood as well. So if you want to dive in and play either of those games, these would be quite nice. I love that, just full of wolves.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Viking werewolves. Who would have thought? Who would have been drawn to that?
Who would have thought? I should also point out, Para Bellum did say that they're going to be doing another 2-player starter set in the near future as well, which will contain the City States and the Sorcerer Kings. So if you're somebody who's maybe sort of on the edge of diving in, maybe with a mate, maybe wait around for that. You could dive in and pick that up, get yourself 2 really nice armies from them. The City States are a gorgeous range. And obviously, as we've been looking at the Sorcerer Kings, they're really nice as well. So yeah, make sure to check those out and let us know if you pick one of these up and get stuck in. As we were talking about last week, the organized play stuff is going to be really fun this year as well. So maybe you'll be sort of dragged down to a club with your mates to play some games and get stuck in. You know, not everyone's enjoying the old world and it's going to be expensive. So maybe dive in and do this instead and enjoy an actual modern rank and flank style game on the tabletop. So yeah, very cool.
Very fancy indeed. I like also how some of those army sets are majority of the larger sort of monster or large infantry models.
Yeah. Got a centerpiece to it.
Well, it changes things up because a lot of starter sets you often just get, multiple infantry units. Whereas this time around you're going, well, here's some Ogrons or here's some werewolves or Thunder Riders for the Wadroon, whatever it happens to be. So if you've already got a starter set, then adding this on will all of a sudden add some of that massive infantry in there and a few of the big monsters too.
Yeah. Also, remember all the rules and stuff for Conquest, everything you can find on their website. Go and dive in, have some fun with it and see what it's all about as well. So yeah, very cool.
Fancy. All right. Human Militia for Oathmark.
Yeah, so moving from one rank and flank game to another one, Oathmark is coming back with a vengeance this year. We saw the Elven Cavalry coming out towards the end of 2023, but 2024 marks the building up of the humans once again. So if you're diving into a game and you want to use them as your sort of core kingdom, these might be quite fun. Or maybe if you're just diving into anything fantasy-based, these are quite nice. So this is going to be a new plastic set from North Star, who've done all the sets in the past for these. It's going to come with a whole host of different options for you to build your human militia with swords and spears and shields, axes, maces, daggers, bows, and everything else in between. So if you want to make your sort of ragtag rabble,
dogs of war,
your dogs of war, perhaps, yes, then these could be quite nice. But also you got the hoods and the bows and the arrows as well. If you want to go down the sort of route of outlaws and rangers,
Rangers, yeah, that's. All we're going to see is armies of Rangers.
Yes. I think this has been one of the sets that everyone's been sort of waiting for quite a while, mainly because it comes with so many different options in there. It reminds me very much of the classic Empire Militia Free Company set that they did for Warhammer Fantasy.
For wartime.
Where you've basically got everything you need to make your sort of basic infantry or your militia, as it were, on the tabletop. So yeah, very nice little kit, this one. They showed off the sprues, should be coming out fairly soon. Lots of different combinations that you can go with this one. I'm not necessarily a fan of the shields, but that's an easy problem to solve because everybody does shields. Get some round ones. That's the way to go in my mind. But beyond that, obviously you can kit bash these. There you go. Just buy a set of those. But yeah, if you want to kit bash this with some of the stuff from the rest of the human range, or if you wanted to go even beyond that and include some of the dwarf or goblin or elven stuff in there as well, you can do. It all works together. It's all compatible, alongside even the stuff from Frostgrave as well, or maybe even Stargrave if you wanted to go even wilder.
Well, having a set of more regimented style bodies that you could then mix in, because obviously there's things like the scrappers and stuff for Stargrave. So
you've also got the one you played last year, Jerry. Was it the Doomed or the Damned?
Yeah,
the Doomed. Yeah. The Damned's a great band with Captain Sensible. Similar but different. But yeah, it's nice to see these coming. I wonder if that means Joe's working on any more Oathmarky books.
I would really hope so. It'd be really fun to see them do more with
Although it is good that they're going back and filling out the range, because I think they've said that cavalry, because they've already got the human cavalry here, so they would just need the militia set. It'd be interesting to see what comes next from them.
I believe North Star are also going to do a set of metal characters to go alongside these as well, so you can have like militia champions and things, like lower ranking ones, which will sit nicely with the metals that they've already done as well. So keep an eye out for those. I'm sure they'll be up for pre-order very soon as well. Yeah. So, nice.
I heard a vicious rumor that the cultists box was going to get a friend as well as the so cultists 2 will be
interesting.
Female figures, same as they've done with some of the other boxes,
soldiers and stuff.
Yeah. I know there was a second one, but I can't remember what it was. So you'll just have to find out for yourself or wait.
Yeah, or someone will jump into the comments and tell me.
Yeah, somebody tell me what I can't remember. There's going to be a lot, to be fair. So pick one and run with that. Right, Infinity tag Deathmatch.
Yeah. So if you missed out on the Kickstarter or the crowdfunder, I believe, because I think it was maybe it was an Indiegogo or a GameFound, one of those.
I think it was GameFound.
It was on one of those platforms. Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid, a selection of platinum pledges and expansions is actually available over on the Corvus Belli website at this moment. They are going to be available until stocks last, or up until I think it's the 11th of February. So if you're one of those people who missed out on the game and really wanted to pick it up, this is your chance to go in and snap it up for yourself before it sort of disappears into ether, because this is one of those games that's not going to go to retail. So it was one of those that if you are going to pick it up, that was the time to do it. As I say, if you missed out, you've still got another chance here. You'll be able to get yourself the Platinum Pledge, which contains pretty much everything that was available as part of that in the crowdfunder. So it comes with the core game and all of the additional expansions. But if you're someone who maybe just got the core game and now you're regretting that and you wanted to pick up some of the expansions, you can get some of those as well. So you can get the Search and Capture one, which added the combined army into the mix. There's the Steindrager one as well, which is that amazing sci-fi dragon. Could easily be dropped into a fantasy game as well if you wanted to. I say dragon, it's more of a wyvern. I'm going to get my draconics right. There we go. And there's also the scenery pack there as well, which could also be great for Infinity. Use that as objective markers and things in your games as well. But yeah, if you're interested in Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid and you missed out the first time, make sure to go and check this out and get your orders in ahead of it sort of vanishing away. I
remember these are plastic or these.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they're done in their new material that they've been working with for some of the larger models and things, which is quite nice. So yes, make sure to check those out.
They're very fancy. I remember having a look at the massive Steindragon. I know that's not how it's pronounced, but that's what I'm doing right now. Whenever we were doing the Let's Play and having a look at the prototype of it, and it's an absolutely stonking beast.
It really is.
Absolutely massive. And once it's on that little plastic hexagon base, I mean, that'll come off a treat. Straight onto a 75mm square Bosch Titan time.
Have some fun. Yeah.
There's a lot I can do. A lot of damage I can do to people.
Yeah, next time Carlos is across, he's just going to backhand you. What have you done to my beautiful miniature?
Smaller than me.
As long as you paint it in Yujin colours and you give it little armor plates, it'll be fine.
Absolutely grand. It would, in many respects, be super
co-opted by the People's Republic.
That is how these things go.
Yeah.
Right, a little bit of the Cthulhu.
Yeah. So this one was one that we sort of was teased last year and is finally now available from the folks at PWork Wargames. This is Altar of the Dead Gods, which I know you were quite excited by, Jerry.
Oh God, yes.
This is their new Lovecraftian themed skirmish game, which is all kinds of awesome.
They had me at Dead Gods.
So this is a 2-player game where you dive into a skirmish where you're exploring buried temples and ancient labyrinths and ruins beyond time, searching for sacred relics that you can use to sort of infuse yourself with power that you probably shouldn't be touching in any way. You'll be able to take on the role of factions like vampires, hunters, blood witches, cultists, the pilgrims of the church, and the very mysterious and sounds very cool decadent waltz. I don't know what they are.
No, in my heart of hearts, I so want that to be the faction name, but also I think that may be like just a bad translation of something.
Oh, okay, right, interesting. Maybe
So
we'll see.
But even if it turns out later on that it is like, you know, the March of the Decadence or something like that, you know, I will still refer to it as the Decadent Waltz,
because that's amazing, isn't it?
That's a great, just dancing your way in, just like the Mask of the Red Death. I mean, look at this right off the bat. That's absolutely batshit. I'm glad to see they've got an eye in there, because
that faction has a debutante ball before they go out murdering.
Yeah, could be that.
It's a really stylish looking presentation. And the thing that's quite nice about the game is that they've set out to make it quick to dive into, because it's all sort of driven off these cards, as you can see here, that are designed for each of the different packs, each of the different warbands, spread over different packs. But there's also lots of detail in there for people who want to dive in a little bit more, and maybe veteran war gamers who want to sort of take it to the next level. The actual factions are spread out over 2 packs of cards. So you've got Primus and Secundus. So each of the 6 is spread 3 and 3. However, what's quite cool is that PWork have actually put together a free PDF. So if you don't get your hands on the cards, or you just want to check them out yourselves and, you know, get a little feel for the game, you can download the PDF and it'll have all of the rules for that. So you can dive in and see what you think of them and stuff like that. Maybe pick your faction ahead of time. They haven't done specific models for the game, but that's because there are loads of models out there. We were talking about cultists just then from Frostgrave and stuff. They'd be perfect for this kind of game, alongside all sorts of other things out there. Playing in 28mm or 32mm, I think would be great for this one. But what they are doing is they're doing the terrain and the maps and stuff for the game. So you'll be able to get yourself the Lost Temple, which you saw there, and then there's the Buried Temple terrain set, which has been designed with all those different modular elements, so you can mix and match it to build the different scenarios from the core game. So whichever one of those sort of maps, those scenarios, those missions you dive into, you can sort of use this terrain to sort of set up your games on the tabletop, which I think is quite nice. They've also done that token set as well, so if you don't want to use the printed versions, you can use those in MDF and have some fun with that, which I think would be quite nice. I think there's lots of interesting depth to explore with this one. Some deep ones, perhaps. Yes. So yeah, I think this is a really cool idea. I love the idea of sort of blending together lots of different horror vibes into one game. Hopefully we'll get a chance to look at this one in a little bit more detail in the near future. Yes,
please.
and see what it's all about. But
it's just sitting there, Keith now.
Yeah, but this one seems very cool, and is definitely worth checking out if you're interested in something a little bit different in the skirmish realm.
Yeah, and remember, never learn summon before you learn bind.
Exactly.
There's a reason those spells come in pairs. I like this, the fact that the PDF and stuff, great, I suppose, for people who like reading on screens and digital things. I don't. But the fact that it's just a couple of card decks, stuff for the warband is great. It's in that respect, it's Saga-esque, where you just go 2 decks of cards and I've got everything I need for playing these 6 factions. So I'll be doing that.
They've even done inside the set, you even get like a little reference card as well, so it tells you about your turn and sort of the actions that you need to do as well. So it's a handy little thing for basically not having to check everything in the book all the time. As you're
cheat sheets are perfect.
God, yes, I love a cheat sheet.
You too can be haunted. Oh dear. At that point you just go back to that, and you just get that tattooed on yourself. Get an elder sign tattooed on every visible, one on the forehead, one over your heart. Just do it. If you can find a circlet of protection from Nodens, that'd be great. He's a good man to have on your side, but otherwise you will be killed up like a kipper. I'm fascinated
Never
to see
lose
where
your
they go with
grimoire
this.
again. Tattoo it to your skin.
Because obviously we know PWorks for a long time have done mats, books, and terrain, but this is their first venture into publishing a game. So hopefully this goes well, and it's a sign of things to come. Because I think the writers of this had been working on it for a while, and then PWorks are publishing it for them. So having another outlet for small indie designers or first-time designers to actually get stuff available to people in the real world without having to go through PDF is great.
Very cool. Very nice.
Yeah. It looks like there's a ton of work lavished on that. I'm going to stop looking at that. Let's close that.
And Jerry's bought all of the terrain.
Yeah, Jerry's wallet's just going twitch.
It's fine. It'll be fine. If they didn't want me to do it, they wouldn't have links for things. It's not how it works. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Wouldn't have made it easy.
Yeah. Speaking of things that I have to buy.
Yes. Somewhere I can hear Lloyd going, "Ooh, new army." So yes, the full range of Ragnarok miniatures, Sons of Odin, is now finally available over on the Gripping Beast website. So if you are somebody who missed out on the various Kickstarters that Colin Patton has done over the last little while, they're now all available over on Gripping Beast in various guises for you to snap up. It's a stunning range of metal miniatures, all in 28mm, lavished with detail, and kind of a little bit of a mix between the kind of semi-mythological, the fantastical, but also obviously historical at the same time. A lot of it's based on things like the Icelandic sagas, but you've got models in there that have been designed as kind of like the Einherjar as well, the warriors of Valhalla that were fighting constantly every day, and they just look amazing. If you're someone who's looked at Colin's work in the past for the fantasy ranges, so he's done dwarves and goblins and things, there'll obviously be no surprise that these are amazing and should definitely be added into your collection. As I say, they've broken them down into different sets, so you can get characters or you can get individual sort of warband groups with spears and shields and everything else in between. You can actually buy full saga armies as well, so they've kind of done the heavy lifting for you and gone, these are the things you need to make a 4-point list or a 6-point list or 8-point list or whatever, and so you can just dive in and get those and you're pretty much sorted straight out of the gate. But they've also done some really nice kind of like diorama sets as well, so maybe if you're diving into playing the Dark Ages but you're not doing it on a skirmish level, maybe you're doing it with kind of larger fixed based units and stuff like that, they've done these larger shield wall sets, so they kind of give you everything you need to build a really badass looking sort of diorama on the tabletop with all the casualties and everything that you get involved with that, and I think they look really nice, especially if you're going to be playing something that sort of expands out to larger scale battles on the tabletop. But yeah, very nice stuff indeed from Ragnarok, Colin, and obviously Gripping Beast working to get all of this out there. And I'm sure there'll be even more coming soon because he seems to work like a speed demon.
Oh god, yeah, 100%. Even if you're not planning on using those sets to do dioramas,
they're good anyway.
They're a good solid core of a Viking force, and then you've got casualties as markers for wounds,
around the back,
fatigue, whatever it happens to be. Also, if you've bought anything from Colin, used to run Saxon Miniatures, which is over at Warlord, have it now.
It is, I've got some of his characters.
I've got a 8-point saga force of it. These match perfectly with it, by the way. Obviously, sculpting wise, the sculptor's the same man, so the style and sizing is identical, but it means then instead of having access to 3 or 4 packs of Bondi sort of warriors, you've now got access to 10 or 12 when you combine the two ranges. So you could have some really big Viking armies, really big. I'm going to stop looking at this now as well. I will say, I used to be a Hearthguard. Where was it? There he is there. I used to be a Hearthguard until apparently I got stabbed up. Which is a bit disappointing by me. I always imagined myself as one of those people who survived the battles, but it just goes to show, like in a zombie apocalypse, we all think we'd do well, but in actual fact, we'd be toast in the first wave.
See, here's the thing, Jerry. I don't think that miniature of you even got stabbed. He's just winded. See, he's grabbing the side. He's got a stitch.
That could be it. Stitches are lower. It's up here, I just clasping my nipple.
It's now a Viking off between Colin Patton and Matt Bickley for who can create the best Viking range in 2024. I'm just going to put that out there. So yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Put them in the pit and make them
Oops,
sculpt.
Then just a ward.
It's fine. Either way, it's fine. We all win when that happens.
We do.
Like all wars, we all win when it happens. Right. Deathwing.
Yeah.
This has proved ridiculously popular.
It has. So I'm sure by this point you will have seen a whole bunch of other Warhammer news that will have been out today.
Yes.
But we haven't got that yet. So here's the pre-orders that are coming up this weekend for Warhammer 40,000. As Jerry was alluding to there, the Deathwing Assault Army set is going to be available to pre-order from your friendly local gaming store, wink wink, and also Games Workshop. Why would you go there? And
we can sit in a queue for an hour and then find out that they're all sold out.
I got to sit in a queue for an hour last weekend to just look at my order status for something that I'd ordered months ago. That was great. But anyway.
You're so British.
But yes, anyway, this set will give you everything you need to dive in and start creating a very unique Deathwing Assault Army on the tabletop. You get the new miniature for Belial there, stepping in his fancy pants to kick ass and take names. Everyone saw that iconic bolter of his and was like, yep, he's coming. But alongside that, you get 15 Terminators. 10 of them are the Terminators that have been out for a while since the coming of 10th edition. So they're the big upscaled versions of them. You also then get 5 of the Deathwing Assault Terminators. So they're the new sort of sculpts for those, looking very berobed ones. Yes,
sword and board boys.
Yes. You'll also get a couple of Deathwing. Dark Angel upgrade sprues in the set as well. So you're not just going to have kind of like vanilla looking Terminators. You'll be able to go in and add lots of trinkets and all sorts of different things to upgrade your Terminators. You could also just use those to upgrade the rest of your Dark Angels force as well, if you wanted to, and just mix and match things as you see fit. But yeah, it's going to be available alongside the Codex as well that comes in the set, which will be a limited edition version of that if you are so enamored by that idea. Obviously everything in this set will be out eventually at some point in the future, so if you do miss out on this for whatever reason, the only thing you're going to be missing is the limited edition Codex. So yeah, you can wait if you need to. Don't have to be lured in by the FOMO. However, we are going to be putting this up for pre-order on our store, on store.ontabletop. So if you do want to avoid having to sit in a queue and maybe snag one from us, then you can do on Saturday morning, tomorrow morning. So
be lucky.
Be lucky.
Be lucky.
In addition to that,
let's just be on time.
We'll be on time. Yeah, 10 o'clock. Big bang. As well as that, they're also continuing to dive into the narrative side of things with Warhammer 40,000. So the next book, Pariah Nexus, is out. This will give you additional bits and pieces that you can use to dive into creating narratively crafted armies for Warhammer 40,000 with new options to sort of take things different ways. The fighters moved away from the Tyranids ravaging the galaxy, and instead now there's a little bit of a civil war brewing amongst the Necrons as they are trying to work out which way to take their mighty dynasty.
Skype versus Zoom.
Skype versus Zoom. Yes, it is the Apple Mac versus Windows.
I'm a Mac. I'm a PC. That's right. Who is this? He doesn't look Necron-y.
No, yeah. So the Mechanicus are also involved in this little brouhaha,
sticking their oar in.
Yes.
Well, I mean, anytime I've seen a Mechanicus find Necron gear in 40k, they're like, "Oh my god, I must have it."
Yeah.
They tend to poke USB ports that they shouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah.
They'll stick a USB 1 into a USB 3 port, even if it doesn't fit, they'll force it.
Yeah. I like to think that the Necrons are having this Barney, and then the Adepts and Mechanicus have stepped in as tech support to try and solve the situation. That's the. But yeah, hopefully this will be one of those things where the actual civil war between the Necrons will have an impact on the grimdark future. I like that they've been pushing forward the storyline in 140,000 now, and things are actually meaning something. And I really hope that this then does something similar to what's happening in the Imperium and beyond as well. And we actually get to see some interesting things happen in the lore, which will be very cool. But yeah,
I mean, we are waiting on the next Imperial Primarch to come back.
Very true.
And in general, narrative stories are just nicer to play 40k with.
Very much so.
It's just a better way to play.
Yes, I agree. But yeah, watch out for those this weekend. Be quick or be dead.
Be quick or be dead. Be undead, like an Necron. I'd be curious to see what, like you say, if they push the narrative story forward, how that could resolve itself. There's a nice thing Mantic did with one of the characters in Kings of War, where there's just this really keen wizard called Jarvis, who's really, he's really fond of the stuff about the Ophidians and the fact they used to use undead, but they were nice. They weren't evil necromancers doing stuff. They were nice people. You only became a resurrected servant if you bequeathed your body to the state, that type of thing. Okay. So in game terms, you can take an undead army with Jarvis as your leader, if you include him, essentially, and it changes the faction alignment from evil to good, which means then you can ally with good forces. Could you see something like that in the Necrons?
Well,
Could you end up with a division where they go
the Blood Angels once, remember?
Yeah,
that, and a lot of their leadership do have some like code-written errors where they don't really see themselves as dead.
If you include X, then that changes how the Necrons deploy, and therefore allows them to align more with Imperium or Eldar, or whatever it happens to be, with the living peoples.
Yeah, just as long as there's not flayed ones turning up.
Oh, flayed ones are my favourite. I always used to say they looked like they were trying to disguise themselves as humans and creep through. I am human. Look at my human flesh. Anyway, right. Enough of this news. I think we need to have a swish and come down for some 3D printing. Okay, time to take a look at something that's very apropos for Dungeonlia. It's tiny furniture.
Tiny furniture, what?
For tiny dungeons. Teeny tiny dungeons.
Yeah, so I was having a peruse through my mini factory and seeing what was on offer from the various companies that are on there. And one of them that stuck out for me was one that kind of, as you say, gels very nicely with Dungeonlia. So this is tiny furniture, as the name suggests, and they produce tiny furniture. So this is what I think is like the best use of a 3D printer, right? You can print models, that's cool. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. But I think doing scatter and terrain and all that kind of stuff is the thing, because it's all the little tiny weird things that you want to add to your tabletops, start giving them character, making the world feel lived in, and also just to create fun and interesting tabletops for you to play your games on. And I think that the stuff that Tiny Furniture have been working on is just wonderful. They've crossed all the different gamuts of kind of fantasy and little sci-fi bits and everything else in between as well, which I think is really nice. And they do occasional miniatures and things like that as well, which I think is good. Ha. But I think it's just a wonderful little selection of stuff that will be great for those people who are maybe looking to embellish a Hero Quest board, like Mr. Johnston, perhaps, and everything else in between. They've been doing this for a little while now as well. I think it's really nice.
Tiny campfire. I mean, that's if that's your campfire,
that's an extensive camp.
It's just some sort of glamping.
Yes,
so
yeah. I mean, you've probably got a kitchen wagon that just slots into.
Yeah,
I like to imagine that's just sitting in front of the entrance to a cave / dungeon thing, and so many adventurers have been sent there over the years that they've just, it's a permanent fixture now.
Yeah, the town magistrate has done a picnic cum camp area.
Yeah. It's like those things you find on the top of mountains where it's just a shack where people just stay overnight. And it's just been there for years. Yeah. Very
like
cool.
that. Oh, I've got that.
What, the actual gargoyle or a little?
that actual gargoyle. Oh, because it's Gargoyles of Notre Dame. That's why. Cool. I got it when I was in France years ago. It's about that big. It's a little stone resin version of it. No. Technically not a gargoyle. That one's a grotesque. It's only a gargoyle if water can flow through it.
If it can pee or spew.
Yep.
That's the way to know.
That's how you know.
Some of these are lovely.
They are really nice, yeah. And it's, as I say, it's just one of those things that I think...
The incidental pieces.
Yeah, the flavour bits.
The bits that you forget about. Because you can have a lot of stuff like MDF terrain or big plastic kits and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And if you've got something that's particularly I mean,
Flat.
I use flat or generic, but I use that term endearingly because obviously it's usually quick and easy to put together. These kind of things then add to those terrain elements that you've got on the tabletop and start to take things in different directions. And as I say, if you are someone who's going to be playing role-playing games or board games that have a kind of adventure bent to them and with tiles and characters and all that kind of stuff, this kind of stuff is great for building up character on the tabletop and creating sort of encounters that your players will actually get involved with and have some fun with. They'll be like, there's big mushrooms everywhere. Maybe I can push someone onto this or use it to cut it down and like spread paws over them and that kind of thing. Even if you're diving into something miniature based, so you're playing through Walking Dead, which is obviously coming back this year, this kind of stuff is amazing for that.
Seeing this makes me want to actually take a video game Project Zomboid and convert it to a tabletop game.
There you go. Yeah,
I was more thinking Supermarket Sweep as a dungeon crawler.
Here comes Dale Winton out from the shadows.
Dale Winton. That would be amazing.
What color of paint would you use to get that skin tone?
You just wood varnish.
Mahogany. The astronomer's room.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that for like a wizard's tower on the tabletop that you're exploring in something. I mean, really cool.
Look at the lenses on that.
Reminds me of The Martian from Warner Brothers.
Yes. You will be disintegrated.
Yeah.
Little Marvin.
Where's the kaboom?
You have made me very angry.
That's a very good voice.
Well, that was a good one.
But yeah, I just think all the little sets they've done.
Down?
That's definitely
that's a bad book.
That's got Summon and Bind in it.
That has his internet browser history on it.
Yeah. But it's like, especially for games, I think a lot of the fantasy stuff anyway, it would be really good for embellishing stuff for like Frostgrave and games, or maybe like Rangers of Shadow Deep and things like that, where you're trying to build up interesting tabletops that are usually quite small. So you want to try and pack them out with stuff. And there's only so many walls and tumbled down bits of building that you could put into a game. When
the old roundabout, one of the most dangerous play park items you could ever find.
Yeah, you put in a rule where you can strap someone to the side of it, and then the other characters get to roll dice to spin them around, and then they get flung off in different directions. I did that.
But you're right. Yeah, the incidental pieces that you can add on to scratch built terrain.
Yeah,
things like these to go around the side of buildings for your
even your regular MDF stuff. Doing these as ancillary components that you stick on really breaks away from the blockiness of it.
The thing that I think's really good about this stuff as well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong as well, but a lot of this stuff is quite small, probably quite easy to print as well. So if you're just starting out with your 3D printer, this kind of stuff could be amazing for you to get started and sort of like fine tune things, because you'll in the end, it's also terrain. And if it gets a bit battered, gets a bit broken in the process of you putting it all together and printing it off, just mess it up and use it as part of a ruined section of your tabletop or something as well.
Yep.
So,
I mean, a lot of this looks pretty clean and straightforward, so you're not going to have to faff about with a ton of supports and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, a lot of them say pre-supported anyway, so you're working from stuff that's been tested, you'd imagine, as well. As I say, they've been doing this for a while from what we can see here, so there's definitely some interesting stuff there for people to dive in and have some fun with. So on stilts.
Have a quick look at the teeny people, since there are some teeny people.
Proper classic pit fighter, getting vibes of that art piece from the Mordheim rulebook, if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Very similar, in fact.
Yes.
Very cool.
All for the stabby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, doggo.
Dead dog. What?
He's just sleeping.
It's not eating anything out of its bowl.
Oh no, Jerry.
There's a can of spell, but I look at that, wouldn't go near it. Stay away, you'll get fleas and stuff.
Chuffy, no.
It's the Mechanica sniper.
Yeah.
It's this Skitarii sniper.
Yeah.
He appears to be a jailer because he's got a key.
You see, I think with the way it's got the person feet on the bottom, I think it's pretending to be human, going, okay, now all I need is a big jacket and a hat.
You're not wrong.
It is. It's perfect for the marginalia style design of something like Mordheim. Like have that tottling down as a random encounter in Mordheim. just tottling down the street.
The confused Ratman thing.
What? Yeah.
I see things like this, having your carts and stuff that you can use just for like scenario pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are traveling on a road with a cart. How often do you have a decent cart?
Very much so, yeah. But yeah, it's some really nice stuff there, and something a little bit different than the kind of things that we normally look at. I know that a lot of the time people will go to tribes or Patreon pages and all that kind of thing, and they'll see the big flashy miniatures that you get that you can print off or whatever that are, you know, the size of your child and all that kind of thing.
Oh, I love that one, the D&D players.
Yes, that is very good. But I think just these kind of smaller kits and these smaller sets are just a really nice way for you to get started and have some fun, really. So very cool. Yeah.
Sweet to the beat. What's the other one? Or is it more the same?
So that's their tribes. So if you're interested in getting the stuff as bundles every month, then they've also got tribes there as well. So
I'll have to do a commercial license.
Yeah. So if you like the look of this stuff, maybe search this over on sort of Etsy or something like that.
Yep.
And you might be able to find some good sellers. That's where I've found a lot of stuff that I've really wanted from 3D printers over on Etsy. And they're usually very good. So yeah.
Not much room in that house. Right. Interesting stuff from Tiny Furniture.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of good bits and pieces in there, especially for scratch builders.
Mm-hmm.
That is the way to go for 3D printing. Just do bits and pieces for scratch builders, just to decorate their buildings.
Yes.
No need to do miniatures. Don't want games. None of that. It's going to be tiny little things. Yeah. Tiny little things, and we're good to go. Right. We have some Kickstarters.
We do.
3 Kickstarters to round out the show.
Yes, pretty much, actually, yeah.
Technically, the best.
Yeah, technically 3. Yeah. I love technically. That's the best kind of correct.
Yep.
But we start off with a big one from the folks at Monolith. They've been helming Conan for many years now and doing a really good job with the game. It is possibly one of the best adventure-style board games that I've played on the tabletop in a long while. The mechanics are solid, and they're it's sort of grown and developed with the community over the last couple of years. Their latest Kickstarter is focused around both one of the biggest and one of the most famous stories of Conan, Red Nails, alongside a bunch of other expansions as well. Leading the way is that Red Nails box, which will give you new models for Conan and Valeria and that mighty dragon for you to fight as well, which I think is really awesome. And the actual scenario is obviously going to be based around that story and sort of how that plays out. But on top of that, they've also added a whole bunch of other stuff in there as well. So they've really grown and developed the solo and cooperative mode of play. So if you're someone who's played Conan in the past, maybe you started out back when the Kickstarter initially launched, which is many years ago now. I've got my copy somewhere up there, and I still enjoy playing it every so often. It was a 1 versus many game where one player controlled all of the enemies, and then everyone else controlled the different characters. And you had the Book of Skelos, the river in front of you. They've now tweaked the mechanics slightly so that you can play it by yourself, or you can play it with cooperatively, which I think is a really nice touch. Because not everyone's excited by the idea of doing a 1 versus many game. Sometimes you just want to work together of an evening and play the game and have some fun. And they've done some really nice stuff with that. As I say, again, working alongside the community for Conan to bring that back to the tabletop. And they've folded that into the expansions and stuff that you get for this game, especially for Red Nails and all that kind of stuff. There's also, and this one's really fun, a versus mode that they've put into the game. So this allows 2 players or more, maybe if you wanted to go down that route, to dive in and take control of heroes and villains from the Conan universe and have them alongside their lackeys, their monsters, and everything else in between, and actually fight out versus games against each other. So like Warband versus Warband. It uses all the core mechanics of Conan. So it uses, again, that Book of Skelos and the kind of mechanics that they've used for that with the gems and stuff and the fatigue and things. But you then have that now in a versus format. So it's all about just sort of beating up your enemies and using your initiative and that kind of thing, which I think is really nice. So if you're interested in just getting more out of Conan, then I think that's a good way of going. There's an additional expansion that they've talked about as well called Worms of the Earth, which delves into more of the different Conan stories. So if you're somewhat of a Conan aficionado, you've got some new ways to go on that front with some new heroes and some new villains there. Of course, They've also returned with the original base pledge as well. So they called this the King pledge when it originally came out. That's the one that I've got. It comes with a lot of stuff anyway. It's back and in greater numbers. So you'll be able to snap that up and have some fun with it. It looks very, very cool. So if you're someone who's never touched Conan before and you want to give this a go, make sure to check this out and pick that one up as well. There's stretch goals and everything else in between as well. There's even a Frazetta box. So as you all know, in the past, they've done really cool box sets where you can get miniatures designed based on artwork from various creators. Obviously, Frank Frazetta is one of the most iconic Conan artists of his time. And there's now a set there that comes with 2 models based on him and a new scenario where you can have Conan riding around on horseback, kicking ass and taking names, which is always nice to see. The miniatures themselves are lovely. I remember opening the box set back in the day, and it was gorgeous even back then. I think they've gone back and they've done a lot more stuff with the tooling and the design to make their models pop even more now. So if you're somebody who was maybe on the fence back in the day, maybe it's a good time to dive in and have a look at it and see what you think. As I say, it's a huge bunch of Conan-y goodness. If you were in any way sort of drawn to the idea of Conan on the tabletop, I think this is probably now the definitive way of enjoying the game, enjoying his world, his fantasy world on the tabletop. So yeah, make sure to check this out and see what you think.
It's
I think this is pretty damn good.
Surprisingly cheap.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're going for the I need everything type of stuff, 120.
Yeah.
Is that
plus your postage?
Red, blah blah blah. Yeah. And if you need the core pledge, then you're only
about
205. Yeah,
205.
Yeah.
I mean, considering
for all of
stuff
that
in it,
Conan-y goodness, I think it's pretty good. As I say, I mean, obviously, I can only give my opinion on it, but I really love the mechanics for this. And
I could give my opinion on it if you wanted.
Go.
No, you could.
Oh, I could give yours, I suppose. Yeah. Jerry also thinks this is a great game.
A question.
Yes. Go.
Are we funded yet?
Yes, it is.
Oh God, yeah.
By a country mile.
Funded in spades, yeah.
Fair. Stretch goals are being knocked over left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
As I say, though, like I've played the game. I think it's really good. I've read up over the years on the FAQs and the things they've done, developing the solo and the cooperative rules. And every time I brought this game to the tabletop with people who are like new to this kind of thing, really enjoyed it, and they've got it very quickly. So maybe this is worth diving in and checking out yourself.
I have a question for you then, Benjamino.
Yes.
You and your group of players who you've forced to play this. Have you read any Conan? Or
I have, yes.
Or is your only experience this and the Schwarzenegger film?
I have watched the Conan film, obviously, with Mr. Schwarzenegger. I have watched the Conan the Adventure cartoon series, which is amazing, obviously. But over the last couple of years, I've read there's like a big Chronicles of Conan book, the lovely black leather style one, faux leather one. I've been reading through that, and it's been really fun. And read things like Red Nails and stuff like that.
Yeah, good old Two Gun Bob's last Conan adventure. So when you're playing through, do they obviously this one specifically says it mirrors the Red Nails? Are they sort of narrative progression like that? Do you get the story if you haven't read the stories? Does it go this scenario? This is what's happening, blah blah blah, and now you're moving on, or is it kind of nebula? Here are the characters from it, and then you're just going in and bashing people.
You get a bit of both. Like some of them are very much kind of dragged straight from the books, whereas other ones are kind of like, here are some heroes from Conan's universe. They are on the table. Like, for example, one of the characters that you can actually play as in one of the stories dies within the first 5-10 pages, but obviously he's brought back as a character in this to have much more of a thing, which I think is quite nice. So it kind of does a little bit of both, which is really good. And the depth they've gone into when it comes to looking at the heroes and the villains and all that kind of thing is just phenomenal. Like some of the stuff they've gone in, I've gone, oh, that guy's mentioned in like 2 pages in this book, but he's here on the tabletop. So yeah, I cannot say too much. I can say plenty of good things.
Yeah.
So,
okay, fascinating stuff. There you go, folks. If you're a Conan fan and you've not already checked it out, you probably should have a wee look. And if you're not a Conan fan yet, it seems like a good starting place. It's a good sword and sorcery style board game, and if it encourages you then to go back and read the somewhat extensive Conan catalog these days with multiple authors chipping in at various points. He was even in Marvel at one stage.
It was. Yeah.
There was a whole range of Marvel.
I will say as well,
bizarre.
The newer book series that have been coming out from authors that have gone back to kind of Howard's original version of the character and then played around with that. They're actually not too bad. I've been reading Blood of the Serpent, I think it is, and it feels very in tune with the kind of core Conan, themes and things like that, which is always nice. So yeah, make sure to check those out as well. Don't discount them.
Cool. Right, 10 days left for Conan.
Yes.
Of all its myriad Hyperborean things in there, and which is technically Cthulhu mythos as well.
Yes,
because he was a big fan / friend of.
Have you gone to the top of the Tower of the Elephant and looked into the beyond?
So yes, and you know what I'm like when it comes to the mythos. Can't get enough of it. Right, we have our final 2 Kickstarters then, and this one was picked exclusively by Ben.
I will say that everybody in the Discord and everybody on social media and on Twitter and everywhere else, everywhere, pretty much everywhere, has been going, has Ben seen this yet? So this is a collaboration between Bood-Wargames and Lafig Miniatures. And as Jerry said, this is kind of like 2 Kickstarters in one. It's 2 projects that are running simultaneously. One of them allows you to get the physical models from
Bood.
This range. From Bood, and the other one allows you to get the STL files if you want to print them off from Lafig Miniatures. This is a collection that has been, as I say, developed by Bood, but it's based on the original John Pickford sculpts, I believe, who has given his grace, as far as I can tell, for these to be updated and modified and brought back to the tabletop as part of a new Dwarven crusading army on the tabletop. So if you're someone who was Oldhammer, is an Oldhammer lover, this is pretty much for you.
I had a regiment of these. Well, not these, but I had a regiment of the original Imperial Dwarves way back.
I have seen maybe 4 or 5 blogs over the last week dedicated to Pickford's work. So I think people like this kind of stuff.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I think a lot of folks are going to be diving in. This one's funded as well across both of the projects for you to dive in time for with. But they've done
funded better on the physical models. I'm just going to say because more people like physical models.
But yes, you can get yourself a whole host of different Dwarven miniatures as Crusaders with that Oldhammer feel. There's sets of Dwarven heroes. There's crossbowmen. There's spearmen. There's your regular warriors as well, with your hand weapons and shields. So everything you need to make your core armies on the tabletop. They've even gone and done mounted heroes, mounted spearmen, and I believe there's even more stuff in the works that Bood wants to bring to the tabletop. I know that they've been sort of tinkering around with the idea of things like slayers and berserkers and all that kind of stuff as well. So keep an eye out for those in the near future.
Yeah, some of the stretch goals that they've been unlocking, I've been adoring. Drunk pedestrian's good. The drunk pony's okay. There is a drunk dwarf on a drunk pony. There we go. Drag himself along, and then there's a table full of them somewhere. There's a drunk pony as well. So,
dude, don't drink it, horse.
Nobody's getting home there. Nobody's getting home at all. And then having a bit of a party at the table. I mean, that's
there's how you want to fill your dungeon. You could all the drunken dwarves
with angry drunken dwarves.
You could say it's quite an Eck wine collection.
Oh,
you terrible man! You
God,
so much
to please me.
And John leaves.
Yeah, it's the best way. But yeah, stunning set of sculpts. Interesting that they've managed to transition to the 3-dimensional as well via Lafig. So they've done several Kickstarters of their own as STL things. They've got really interesting Forest Goblin STL range. So they've obviously been there, done that, and I presumably have, because these are traditionally sculpted, presumably have used some form of technology.
Yes, scanners are now a thing that many companies must fear.
To get them up and running. But I threw the link to this into the Crown of Command Discord like a grenade. In case you haven't seen it, bam!
Just going to leave this here. Leaves.
Because I was waiting. They first touted this end of November, early December. And I've been waiting patiently in the corner, bug-eyed, going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on, you son of a gun. Launch it, launch it, launch it. But yeah, it's a terrific range for any game, really. Let's face it. If you're playing Oldhammer, you're quids in, but anywhere that you need dwarves, being able to get all the infantry, and even a set of ponyry. Dwarves is also really nice. I believe the ponies aren't metal. I think the ponies are potentially 3D printed with metal riders.
I think it said something there on there.
Yeah. So you can't have everything. But yeah, this is great, and I can't wait to see what they do next, because that classic dwarf feel is just so good.
I did see someone on social media who said, "Oh, I can't use these. There's no game I own that has dwarves with spears." And I was like, "What?" I'm sure you could find one.
But buy a better game or add 1 point to fighting 2 ranks. There you go. That is my gift. That is my gift to social media. If you own a game that you play and it doesn't contain something, the author's not going to come around and punch you. You can just make up whatever rules you want. And if they don't work, then change them for the next one.
I don't know. James
from the mists of time, from the long, long ago, Jerry pulls out a rules mechanic from ancient times.
Add 1 point.
Add 1 rank and add 1 point.
Ancient wisdom.
Get on with your life. Right. There we go. So that is Bood and Lafig. There is 23 days left for the physical miniatures and 23 days left for the STLs.
Who would have
strange that, isn't it? Yeah. I like it. I like what they've done there. Both funded already, so go and fill your boots with drunken dwarves.
I wonder if they had a race to see which one funded first.
I imagine so.
I bet they did, yeah.
Yeah, in which case, I think it was actually the STLs, but then the physical have overhauled them. Possibly once I threw it into the Crown of Command thing.
It's like the hare and the tortoise.
Yep, there we go. We all know how the hare and tortoise finish, though, don't we?
That's true.
Yeah, Jerry was eating hare and tortoise soup.
Close. There was a fire in the forest, and because the tortoise had beaten the hare, they went, "You take the message that we need help," and then everybody burnt to death. That's how that fable ends, and it's important to remember that. Being first when you snow isn't always good. Yep. God bless Mr. Fably himself. Right, on that note, I think it's time for us to go. We shall return next Friday. Well, I won't actually, because I'm off.
You're on holiday. Bye.
Yeah, so John.
God, who's going to do the show?
Some of them will return next week. We will be back on Sunday morning, though, because I don't get away that easily. So if you want to join us over on tabletop.com for our XLBS, where this week I believe we're joined by the brothers Johnston. Ooh, who knows what big-headed madness will be going on with that one.
Nothing will happen. The show will be over in 3 hours and you won't know
rabbit holes.
Time will tell. Anyway, you can get a 30-day trial if you are not already a cultist, and if you are, then you know what we're about already. Don't forget to comment below if you want to pick up that Dragonbane stuff.
Such a good game.
It is. Mine is right over my shoulder.
Mine's behind me.
See? Twinsies. Right. We will be back next week. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.